Hello, my name is David Downing, and I'm going to be doing a book review of the voice catchers and talking specifically about how voice data is collected and the implications of this on marketing and personalization towards individuals. So, with that, some things about this book. It's talking a lot about voice assistants such as Siri, Alexa, the Echo Dot, other things along the lines of this, and ways it's used in today's society as well. So I'm going to be kind of sharing more on that. And in addition to this, I'll be sharing some of my perspectives and the ways this has changed after reading this book. Additionally, there are three things that I want to cover as well. Some things that surprised me about the book or just weren't intuitive. After that, I will be talking about the impact that this might have on a brand that I like or different brands that I'm interested in. And then lastly, how this brand could also ethically use voice data to create personalized experiences as well. So one of the first surprises that took me back was how voice data can actually gather a lot more information about you than you might think. And companies actually realize this, from what I read in the book. They started to gather some of this data from call centers and how they could identify different aspects of a person just based on their voice alone. So I thought it was really interesting that you can identify someone's age, their height, personality traits, emotions, even things like social class or illnesses just by someone's voice. I did find that very interesting and surprising how they could utilize this and make it so that they might be able to personalize marketing towards someone specifically. So I did find that interesting. And then there was also something that was said in the book where it was saying that they might even be able to sketch out at someone's face based on just their voice. So I found that very interesting. Surprise number two was that companies intentionally create emotional connections with their devices to different users. For example, Alexa and Siri, if you ask them specific things, they might have a funny or quick-witted response that could make you laugh, or if you ask them to tell you a joke, they might tell you a joke. I did find it interesting that that was something that was specifically designed by developers from these companies so that you felt more of an attachment with that, and it made you feel a little bit more relaxed and kind of took away the idea that they're going to be taking your private data from your voice, even though you might have already known that. But I did find it interesting in that regard, because they also implement a few other things to make you feel stronger connections to these devices, such as using a feminine voice. For example, Siri is a great example of this. But I did find it interesting on how they intentionally designed it for this. In addition to that as well, I did find that the privacy risks of this were interesting, because it could be used for criminal behaviors of someone trying to steal your voice and log into passwords, banks, other things along the lines of that where voice is required for entry, or even maybe cloning your voice, trying to scam someone on a phone call or something like that. So I did find this privacy risk also interesting, and a bit surprising at how people are able to take the information that these companies have gathered and use it for not so great purposes. Next, I want to talk about how a brand that I specifically use in my daily life could be impacted by this book that we just read. So the brand that I chose was Brooks Running Shoes. So thinking through how they could use voice data effectively for their company. Let's say I'm talking about going on a run or something, and my phone or a device picks up my voice. It knows who I am. It has my personal data on file. Brooks could use this information to then target me with ads that are personalized to me. For example, I say just out loud to a friend, I'm thinking of going on a run in Washington Park, and uh, I'm really enjoying this running activity and hobby. However, my knees have started hurting a lot, um, so it's making running a little bit more uncomfortable. I'm looking at getting new shoes, not sure which ones to get, something along the lines of this. Brooks could then use that information to personalize ads and experiences to me, where they might share an ad that pops up on my phone and says Brooks running shoes, it eliminates knee pain, or something along the lines of that, where they can really narrow down and identify their target audience. So this could be very beneficial for them in regards to sales and being able to market directly to their target audience of what they want to sell and how they want to sell it. So this is the impact of voice data for specifically Brooks Running Company. Taking this a step further, let's say Brooks wants to create an app or an online platform that can gather information about a person. They might be able to collect shoe preferences, running goals, mileage, or training habits. And then using this voice technology, they could then personalize the experiences and marketing further to specifically me, which I think is another use case for Brooks. So all in all, right now as a company, you're probably very excited to hear more about how you can use someone's voice data to enhance your company's marketing strategies. All in all, this book has changed a lot about how I think about voice data and the collection of it. It's shared with me a little bit more about the insights and how companies use this, and all of the different ways that they can collect your voice data, and how hard it actually is to stop them from doing that, given all the privacy clauses and disclosures and agreements. It's very spooky, and I'm curious to see how they continue to use voice data, and what policies might come through, or how else they might end up using this data. And in some ways, I think it will be beneficial, because personalized ad experiences or personalized experiences to you can be beneficial. However, from what it sounds like, being able to sell this information or utilize it to profile someone scares me more than I think of seeing the benefits from it right now. But again, I just want to kind of summarize what I had talked about in this book review. So I talked a little bit about excuse me, talked a little bit about how our voice identifies more personal information that we might think. I also talked about how voice assistants are creating emotional relationships with us, or we're meant to create these relationships with them, and that's specifically designed by these companies. And then lastly, the privacy implications of our voice data being used is stronger than I originally thought. And then there's other different ways for brands like Brooks to be using our voice data. So all in all, this was a very interesting read, and I did find it very informative, and I will be taking this on with me as I continue on in my career. Thank you very much.